Hello everyone, welcome back to Maximum Automation. Today in this video, I'm going to discuss how we can use loops in Python. Using a loop, we can iterate through a sequence of objects like a list, dictionary, or set to read and retrieve all the data from the object. Or using loops, we can also iterate for a given number of times when we have to repeat or run the same set of statements many times. So let's see how we can use the loops in Python. One of the loops that we have available in Python is for loop. To use a for loop, what we can do is we can type for and then a variable name, let's say item, and then the keyword in, and then we have to provide the object name which we want to iterate. Let's say I want to iterate through this myList object. So I can provide myList object here and then add colon. After that, I can print the item into the console. Here, we need to make sure that we provide the indentation over here to define the scope of the loop. So this for loop will iterate all the items available in my list. The item value for the first iteration will be apple, then it will be red, then mango, and so on. Now, if I run it, then it should print all the values of my list into the console. Now here we have iterated through the list object. Let's say if you have a set object instead of a list, then also this for loop is gonna run in this same way. You can see again this printed all the items of set. Now because this was a set, so it printed the values in an unordered way because the set is an unordered collection of data. In for statement, what else we can do is we can add break and continue statement. For example, if you want to print only a single item, in case, let's say, if the item is red, then it should print the item, otherwise it should not print anything into the console. In that case, what we can do is we can add an if condition like if item is equal to red, then print the item, else nothing will get printed. And now if I run it, you can see only the value red is printed because we have added a condition here. Now, sometimes apart from printing the items or performing steps, we need to break the loop because we are waiting for some condition to pass, and when it is passed, then we don't want to execute the loop further. In that case, what we can do, let's say if my item is red, then I want to come out of this loop. I don't want that loop to execute further because I have found my item. And to save the execution time, I can break the loop. And for that, I can add a break statement over here. Now, if I run it, you can see it did not print anything because when the condition was met, then it broke the loop. So when the break statement executes, then it does not run further statements available under for loop, and the cursor jumps out of the loop. When this break statement is executed, then it jumps out of the loop and nothing gets printed because the print statement was written after this break statement. Then we have one more statement, which is the opposite of break, that is continue. We can provide the continue statement when we don't want to execute the further steps in the loop, but we want to continue the loop iteration. Unlike break, we don't want to jump out of the loop. Now, if I run it again, see here, again it did not print anything into the console. So what is the difference between continue and break? In case of continue, it will move to the next iteration or next item of the set. But in case of break, it will break the loop and cursor will jump out of the loop. In the continue statement, it won't come out of the loop and it will keep reading the further items of the object. Let me show you an example. Let's say if item is equal to mango, then I'll print the item. And now let me make this as a list because I want it to be ordered. Now, when it will find that item is red, then it will execute the continue statement. So the statement written after continue won't be executed, and the loop will move to the next iteration to read the next item from the list, and then it will find the next item as mango. Then it will come to this if block, and then it will print the item mango. Now if I run it, then you can see it printed mango over here, because when the item value was apple, so no condition met, then it moved to the next iteration for the next value, which is red. When the item value is red, then here continue statement got executed, which moves the cursor of the loop to the next iteration. And when it found the item value as mango, then this condition met and mango got printed into the console. After printing mango, for loop moved to the next iterations and it reads all three values. Now, if I put the break here instead of continue, and now if I run it, then you will see nothing got printed. Why? Because when the item value was red, then it breaks the loop and the cursor jumps out of the loop, so no further iterations got executed. Now, if I move this break statement to here, and if I run it again, this time it printed red because red is before the item mango in the list. So first it printed red, and then when it found the item as mango, then it broke the loop. So this is how a break and continue statement works. So this was about how you can read a list or set object using a for loop. But let's say if you want to iterate through a number of times, in that case, what you can do is, let's say you want to iterate 5 times or 9 times, then for this, Python provides a range function. So let me type for variable I in, and then we can provide a range method over here. The first value in the range method is the start, which is the value from where we want to start. Then the stop means up to which value we want to run our for loop, or at which value we want the loop to stop. And then we have the step value, which is optional. If we don't provide that step value, then it will take the default value, which is 1. Let's say I want to traverse from 1 to 10. In that case, I can give the start value as 1 and the end value as 10. And then I can print the value of I. Now if I run it, you can see it printed the values from 1 to 9 because the loop stopped when the value of I was 10. So it did not print 10. Also, you can see that the value of I got increased by step 1. So how it works? In first case, the value of I was 1. Then value of I increased to 2 and then to 3. So each time the value of variable I got increased by 1 because we have not given the step value in range method. So it took the default value as 1. Now if I give the step value here as 2, so what will happen? In the first case, value of I will be 1. and then in second iteration it will be 3, and then it will be 5. So this time the value of I will increase by 2 steps. Now if I run it, see it printed 1, then 3, then 5, and so on. So this is how the value of I got increased. And now if I change it to 3, then the value of I will be like 1, 4, and 7. You can see it printed 1, 4, and 7. Also, by default, the start value will be 0. If I don't provide the start value here, and if we only provide the end value, then it will start from the 0. You can see it is started from the value 0 and then printed up to 9. This end or stop value is the mandatory field. We can also pass the variable here. Let's say if I add a list count variable and then using length method, I'm going to assign the length of the list to this variable. And then I'm going to use this list count variable over here. As we have a total of 6 items in the list, so the value of list count variable will be 6. And we can also print it. You can see this time it printed the list count as 6. And after that, it printed the values of I from 0 to 5. So this is how a for loop works in Python. Now the next loop we have in Python is while loop. And to use the while loop, I can type while and then the condition. Let's say the value of I is less than 10. Here, first we need to declare the value of variable I. So the value of I is 1, and then I can print the value of I. This loop is going to run while the condition is true, means while the value of I is less than 10. Once it is equal to or greater than 10, then it will come out of the loop. And then here, we also need to increase the value for I, because we don't have any default step value for while loop. In while loop, the value of variable won't get increment automatically. So we have to write the increment statement. Now the value of I will be increased by 1. So if I run it, you can see it printed the values of I up to 9. Similarly, in the while loop also, we can add the break and continue statements as we did in for loop. So that's it for today. This is how you can use loops in Python. I hope you like this video. Please put your comments in the comment box. And also, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.